and it's hopefully it'll work, maybe it'll work, and see if it happens now. So those things, when you go through ascension, you have to have 32 psychic abilities under your belt, meaning able to do them all. Otherwise, you can't get there. So when Jesus was going through that, he was aware of all his abilities and was capable of doing them. So ascension is the most powerful word on this planet if you can go through it. Because you become soul realized, and that means God realized. You don't become God, but you're aware of what you are to God. Not just one cell of God, but an active awareness cell of God is so much different. An unaware self or soul, which most people are, we're all part of God if you want to put it that way. But if you're not aware of what you are, you're not that. If you're aware of the consciousness, how God creates and thinks, we can turn that into reality. But we're not. Most people are not. And I talk to people daily. I meet with people. I listen to people. I listen to people. Now, you mentioned conversation with God. I dealt with him a couple of times. And I challenged him 10 times. I said, you want to face the truth? Call me up. We'll talk for 5 minutes. The person that wrote Saved by the Light. Now, he's a man of his word. He's a man of truth. He's a man of honesty, even though he claims to be a Luciferian. TJ? TJ, you there? Hello? Anybody there?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Maybe TJ just had to step out. That's fine. But when I talked to Saved by the Light, Danny Brinkley, sorry, and I had lunch with him in front of 13 people. Now, he said he was hit by lightning 3 times and died 3 times, and his whole story, and that's how he wrote his book, and it was a bestseller for like 3 or 4 years. But I confronted him when I was at the dinner table with him. And I said, with all that, do you know God? And he stood up, and he said it directly. I'm a Luciferian from the 1700s. My family were Luciferians, and I'll have to reincarnate many times to pay off my karma. But he was 100% right on telling the truth. And I was shocked. When I got to hug him after he spoke and everything, I never felt so much energy come from somebody claiming to be a Luciferian. He's not claiming to be spiritual, or God, or anything even close to it. But he does more for hospice, active work in the United States than anybody else in the United States. So I consider him one of the most incredible people I ever met. To be in that space, to be real and honest. All these other people taking everybody's money, doing nothing except hoarding it. I challenge them. I go on every day, write a letter to the Pope, I write a letter to Deepak Chopra, write a letter to the Dalai Lama, I write a letter to Anatoly, every day. I mean, when I see them put their saying up, which is to me totally ridiculous, I said, the world's not going anywhere if you tell them that. It's a lie, it's a useless lie, and it's telling them to live in dreamland. The world's not going to change unless people get active. You're doing something. You're going out into the world and doing something. Sitting there and saying, well, I want the world to be better, doesn't change reality. So getting a job, helping people, going into somebody's house, cleaning their house, helping them, anything, it's help, it's work, it's active, and it's action. Action changes reality. Dreaming doesn't. Oh, the dreams are important. And the person we had on yesterday started talking about dreams and how important they are. They are important, but that's a whole other teaching. You have to learn about dreams, how to understand them, how to go inside them, how to rearrange them, how to get the teachings or what's being told to you from within them. And that's something very few people can do either. So we're moving forward supposedly into the spiritual realm, and all these abilities that we had and need are being like forsaken, thrown out and not used. So until mankind's ready, which I think we kind of passed the boundary of going back into being a spiritual reality. I'm not saying that it can't, but I would really feel, and I just had 3 different people in the past 3 days agree with me, that the probably 90% of the planet has to be taken away because they're already in the program state. And that's why Noah's Ark, when that happened, those people were already converted and programmed, and they were never ready to move forward. I mean, Moses, when he came off the mountain and killed all the people, that's a totally different story. I mean, he killed 3,000 people because he called them demons. And I mean, when the British and the Spanish came to the United States, they called the native people demons and killed them. When Moses brought the people to the Promised Land, they called them demons and just killed everybody that was living there. So it's a justification of being spiritual. You can't put the words together. They don't fit. And then religion, if you follow the Ten Commandments, it says, thou shalt not kill, so you can't kill. So right there, it changes what these people say they are. You can't go in the army and kill somebody and say, I'm a religious person. Because taking somebody's soul and taking it out of their body, you don't kill a soul, but you kill their karma, their life, and everything else. And you do stop families from being produced on this planet, and that changes our reality completely. Nobody has the right to do that, I mean, with the laws of non-interference in the physical reality. So we create this scenario. I think TJ left for good. I'm not sure if she's going to come back. But and she did want to talk about ascension and a couple different things. But just on ascension and ascend, they are separate words. I think we have how much time left? Hold on. We have about 25 minutes left. I would like to just go into the differences on them a little. I wish TJ was here because her and me really have to go through this in detail. But ascending means you move from one level to another level. When a person dies, their physical body dies, steps out of that body, and ascends to a higher level, meaning the astral plane, which it stays for a period of time. Now, the other word that people don't like to deal with is karma. You just don't say, I'm going to come back as a king next lifetime. I'm going to do this. People want to believe that. People say they do. People say they allowed aliens to come and abduct them in this lifetime. But it's all about when you leave, the karma that you have determines whether you're going to stay on the astral plane or reincarnate. Most souls reincarnate. Very few souls stay on the astral plane. Now, the word ascension, as I was explaining, once you overcome or attain all these different levels of psychic abilities and awareness, you don't have to come back. You can go past the astral plane. You're no longer working from that level. And in the astral plane, there's many things that keep us locked there because you still have attention on the body. And when we put an attachment to something, whether it's family or your body or an animal or anything even close to that, it keeps you there. The same on this planet, whatever you put your attention on, you can bring it into your reality. You put your attention on money, you go to work, you can make it. Put your attention on swimming, you go to the ocean and go swimming. But if you put your attention on something, you can bring it into this reality. So if you hold on to this reality, you're not going to accept a different reality. So I'm hearing a lot of noise on your end. I don't know whether you're cooking, getting dinner, lunch, whatever. But we each have to slowly become aware of who we are as soul. Now, when you're totally aware of soul, you're becoming spiritual. At that point, the body is not spiritual, and you don't need it. So you do let go of it. I mean, some souls, and you hear it, the song, Only the Good Die Young, well, when you're ready to leave, if you're aware, you can leave anytime you want. I was taught a technique, a Tibetan technique, if I wanted to stay here, how to take another body and stay on this physical world if I wanted to. But there's no reason for me to do that. I attained and I learned what I wanted and needed to learn in this lifetime already. So there would be no reason for me to stay here longer, especially in a different body. So there's so many things that exist in this realm that pertain to spiritual and religion. But I would just say religion is a more programmed idea, and spirituality means more creative ideas, people creating ideas of what they think is real and not. Not that they can prove any of it, because most of them cannot. And in this world, for yourself, you need to prove everything. Good, bad, or indifferent. Because when it comes close to your body dying, and you're minutes away from leaving that body, suddenly everything you think you know will be put in front of you, and then you will see how much of it was real or not. And it's not going to take anybody else to say, hey, look, you thought this was going to happen, or you thought that was going to happen. I had a teacher, a Tibetan teacher, who died. I had a person who was a psychic that came over to me. And this is an important story for me. It's not going to pertain to your experiences, but I was at a powwow dancing, and this medicine woman came over to me and says, I need to read for you. And I said, why? And she told me all this about myself. And she said, there's a being next to you, a person, and they want to tell you stuff. And she goes, they wanted to tell you that where they are is nothing like they thought it would be. And when you hear people talk to spirits and angels and people that passed over, why is it always about, like, what was their experience living? How about what are they really doing now? What are they? Are they going to stay where they are? What's going on there? I mean, learn about that part of life rather than, oh, you were in my bedroom and you left the rose on my door. I mean, that's cool, but it doesn't help soul. It doesn't bring more awareness to reality of who and what you are. And people don't like to dive into things that they're really afraid to get the answer to. I mean, what if everybody was told God didn't exist? I mean, I would never say that, but what if that was the truth? I mean, would somebody tell me that? I said, well, that's because you don't know God. It's that simple. But without the experience, and I tell people, experience in life is the only thing that matters. And you need to experience death. You need to experience outside the body. You need to experience things so you really know that they're real. You can't believe in something if you never saw it, tasted it, felt it, smelt it, or anything about it. When you have a death experience, suddenly everything's real. When you have a sickness or something, sure, you're sick, your body's going through all this stuff. It's real, but it's not making you learn anything. So the experiences you put yourself through, you need to really work on the ones that are going to help you grow. So that's why I'm trying to work this thing with TJ, where we can make classes to teach people different aspects of that. And you really need to go into each one of them in great detail. I mean, protection is the number one thing people need to learn on this planet, to protect their soul from absorbing a lot more karma than they need to, or creating more karma, and how you go about life doing that, and how not to go about life and do that. So there's so many things that I hear when speakers talk about, well, just tell yourself you're everything and you are always connected and you're going to have all this money. But they don't go into the truth. They don't go into anything that's real. Sure, it'll make you feel good. And some people get a little more excited about doing something. But just being around groups of people, what was that?
Oh, I was talking to the dog.
Oh, all right. Being around groups of people help you become part of that energy, good, bad, or indifferent. I mean, you go into a church, you feel the energy. You go into a rally, you'll feel the energy. Go into a protest, you'll feel the energy. And it becomes part of you. It affects you. How much you get totally involved and you get pulled into it. Now, that alone should determine where you go, where you don't go, where you decide to put your body while it's in a happy mode or sad mode. You don't want to go to a depressing place when you're sad. You don't want to do certain things when you're super happy. So we can learn a lot of simple things about creating karma and not creating karma in a really good way that'll help us grow. And that growing means spiritually. And you're not spiritual until you are spiritual. And that happens when you're totally aware. And when I said when Spirit or God grants you total freedom, soul is responsible for everything it does at that point. and staying here is probably the last thing that it will do.